Ladies and gentlemen, we're back already. It's teams like to do their games quick, so I do not get a moment to breathe, and we are right back into the draft. Let's get her going. Looks like the bans are going to be relatively the same. The Night Stalker is going to make his way into this banning phase where he was not before. So Shadow Fiend and Doom are going to be taken out right off the bat. Night Stalker, he will be eliminated, and there is the Slardar as well. So Tusk still in the pool, and No Name Team snatch him up right off the bat. Tusk, an amazing hero, doing a lot of work, and ASDF is going to respond in a very similar manner to the way No Name Team responded in the first game when they picked Tusk. There was an Undying. However, ASDF went for the Dazzle instead of the Gyrocopter. The Gyrocopter was picked on later in the draft. So Dazzle is going to go the way of the Tusk, go with the Tusk on No Name Team. So we got Dazzle, we got Tusk. Any more minus armor combos would be very, very good. SF is out of the pool, Slardar is out of the pool, so you got to get creative with what you do here, but they've already kind of got themselves shaping up for that sort of draft, that kind of save your cores, keep them alive, minus armor, etc. So that Snowball and the Shallow Grave are going to be really good at keeping certain heroes alive and fighting. So we might see another Huskar pickup come up here. Could see a couple other heroes. I'm trying to think of who. Like I would have said an SF if he wasn't banned out, but just kind of one of those frontliners that you can just stand up front and just dish out tons of damage and not really care what is happening to you. Gyrocopter would have been one of those heroes as well if he was not taken out by ASDF. The Darkseer, the Anti-Mage, and the Broodmama are all going to be taken out in this second phase, and we're still waiting on the third ban here. Dazzle with the Broodmother is just insanely potent, so I do not blame ASDF for banning that out at all. See what the next ban is here. We saw a Huskar in game number 1. It didn't do a lot of work, but I think it could with this draft at the moment. Undying is pretty good against Huskar, but Huskar does pretty damn good against Gyrocopter as well. So there's trade-offs to be made there, but we'll see what they end up going with here. Winter Wyvern also still in the pool. I think ASDF probably wants that more than they would like to ban it. I don't imagine that No Name Team would be picking that up when they already have the Dazzle, but you never know. The two heroes together also provide kind of this very ridiculous healing, save your life type of duo that can work really well with a single core like a Spectre or even like a Farming Ember Spirit or something along those lines. Taking a long time on this second ban here. I'm curious what they're thinking about, what they are considering. And they're going to ban the Juggernaut. So, yeah, I don't know. Jug does fairly well against both their heroes and combos pretty well with the Dazzle. It's not the end-all, be-all, counter-picky, like, we win because we picked this here, but definitely would have been a strong pick in No Name Team's draft, so probably a pretty good ban there. Queen of Pain going to get picked up by ASDF this time, whereas in the last two games it was played by No Name Team. First played by Bunny Kirby, and then secondly played by Solfu. So the Queen of Pain has definitely been making her rounds in this series, and had some good effect, had some not quite the high-impact hero she was in 685, but definitely still worth picking. So lots of AoE and lots of teamfight on ASDF. We've seen them prioritizing this in the last couple games, whereas No Name Team has kind of gone for these a little bit more brawly drafts, hoping that they can get themselves off the ground early. And in game number 2, that kind of backfired on them. But game 1, they were playing really strongly and moving around the map as a very cohesive unit and doing a lot of damage. So still very curious where you go with your draft when you have the Dazzle Tusk. You got to start picking up some hard-hitting cores. What those cores are, I don't know. An Io Sven actually works pretty darn well with this draft. You get kind of this just beefy tank-ass lineup, and as long as the Sven doesn't get bursted by something like the Queen of Pain, it's just unstoppable. But That's not going to happen here. Faceless Void. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. I've actually seen No Name Team run Faceless Void Skywrath Mage together, so that's probably going to be the next pick if it's not banned here. But ASDF going for a little bit more traditional responses. They pick themselves up the Winter Wyvern. Now, Wyvern, really good against the Faceless Void, I think, and also good against the Tusk, because if you get a Snowball and you can drop the Winter's Curse on top of it, everybody's in a close proximity, and it ends up being a very, very good ultimate. But Wyvern has 2 spells that basically negate the... will basically negate the Chronosphere if she's not inside of it. So it's all going to be about the positioning for the Wyvern, but if she can keep herself safe from the Void, then Void is not going to get to do too much this game. Now, of course, they do have the Dream Coil set up, so there's a lot more potential for a 4 or 5-man Chronosphere, but whether or not that actually happens this game, we will see. Once again, I feel like No Name Team is drafting relatively weak lanes, and they're going to have to go to extra effort to make sure that they don't get run over early. Actually, sorry, I'm getting everything backwards here. ASDF had the weak lanes in game number 2. No Name Team were the ones that that rolled over them, so we might be looking at a slight role reversal here. We'll see as the game progresses, though, because Faceless Void is a very interesting hero. We haven't seen him prevalent in almost 3 patches. I don't think he's really been played at all, if ever. So it's going to be interesting to see how he performs in this matchup. Taking their time on this pick. They did ban out the AA, and the Alchemist was banned out by No Name Team here. The AA, I think, was a pretty good ban. It combos very well with this kind of AoE control that No Name Team has at the moment. But ASDF going to go for that Eleanor Invoker once again, and yeah, in game number 1, I believe that Invoker played a very crucial role in their success in that game, and I'm really, really enjoying ASDF's draft right now. Now, it's not going to be the Skywrath Mage that I mentioned earlier. Lina is going to be picked up here, so it's going to be a 4-position Tuskar, off-lane Puck most likely, and a mid Lina, as Bunny Kirby has picked that up. So it's going to be an Invoker Lina mid matchup. Probably Faceless Void Dazzle in the safe lane, and then Tusk roaming back and forth between top and bottom, probably, but the Puck will be on the off lane. On the side of ASDF, they're probably going to have that Gyrocopter with the Winter Wyvern and the Undying in the safe lane, Queen of Pain in the off, and Invoker in the mid lane. So, a little bit more transparent lanes than the previous games. In the last game, we saw this huge, weird movement where they got first blood in the enemy jungle, and then they rotated straight through mid to the bottom rune so that they could get back down to their safe lane. It was a weird maneuver because they just kind of weren't sure where the lanes were going to be for each team. But now that that's all been figured out, we are into game number 3 in this best of 5 series. This is the AD2L Champions League Grand Finals. We are playing a best of 5, and the winner of this takes home $110. Not a ton, but that's definitely beer money for your team. So, you know, play hard, play strong, and let's see where this series goes. The score indicator up here is lying. They forgot to update it. It is 1-1 for either team. ASDF took game number 1. No Name Team took game number 2. Let's introduce the team. Sulfu going to be playing the Puck down on the offlane. Streetlight on the Faceless Void. Over on the Tuskar, we've got Dreams. Louis Simon, or Louis Simon, or Louis Salmon is going to be on the Dazzle. Bunny Kirby on the Lina. Over on the side of the Radiant, we've got ASDF. Iraj going to be playing the Queen of Pain. SNE, or SNE, on Winter Wyvern, Yola Swagrico on the Gyrocopter, Eleanor on Invoker, and Rilke going to be playing the Undying. So those are your teams. These guys are competing for $110 in the championship of AD2L Season 9. I can't believe we're at Season 9. I was talking about this earlier. I've been with the AD2L casting with them since Season 1, and it has been a blast. Back in the good old days when Coddle Guy and OD Pixel still casted for us. That was the time. That was the place. That was was where all the good stuff happened. Anyways, one bounty rune apiece going to go to either team. No first bloods at the runes. Everybody going to be taking a very peaceful stance on it. Now, Tusk and Dazzle are going to walk down towards the bottom lane with Streetlight. It looks like they're expecting an aggro lane and are going to dodge it, but they are going to run headfirst into this Gyrocopter as he's heading down here. Now, they are going to duo lane the Quap and the Undying up towards top, so Puck is going to have a little bit of a harder time in this lane. For now, Void is going to have decent farm, but I think once they realize what the lane setup is, they'll probably rotate either the Undying or the Wyvern back down to bottom to help them out here. But Undying at the moment is just going to smack Soulfu in the face, just drop him down a little bit. And I mean, Puck is such a squishy hero early on. With that decay stack down to 400 base HP, and those auto attacks are just doing work. The Invoker versus Lina matchup is pretty interesting. I feel like Lina wins it. And the last couple games, we have seen Bunny Kirby winning this mid lane matchup. I mean, Eleanor's been doing pretty good, holding his own, trying to get kills wherever he can when a gank comes in. But in terms of just pure one-on-one skill, it looks like Bunny Kirby has been successful. And that may be due to the matchups. That may be due to a couple other factings, things like high ground wards and who got the bounty rune and whatnot. But for the most part, I think if this I think Lina has a significant advantage over Invoker in terms of laning presence, and on top of that, Bunny Kirby has been the stronger player, so this mid lane is something to look out for. Alright, down on bottom lane, Tusk looking on the backside, maybe seeing if he can find himself a kill on Yellow Swag here, but the Rock Barrage comes out and drops him insanely low, down about 400 HP, and the Gyro's just deciding to go for it. Chips out all three of these heroes down to next to nothing, and is happy to just continue farming, let them walk away and get nothing out of this lane. Top, the Puck versus Quap matchup. This is actually really interesting because there's no runes going to be coming into play like there normally would in a matchup like this, and so it's going to be all on the skill. But seeing that orb forward, Iraj jumps straight onto Soulfu and decides this is his time. He goes forward, almost gets juked out by that phase shift there, but that's the dangers of playing that Puck against the Queen of Pain. If you use that orb aggressively in any situation ever, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. But Snowball forward looks like it catches the Gyro by surprise, and the heal bomb is going to bring him down. A Shallow Grave gets Dreams out of there okay, and so one hero on either side of the field gets dropped, but the hard carry on ASDF, that's not the one they want him to die. If they could have traded the Wyvern for the Dazzle or for the Faceless Void or something, maybe they would have felt better about that, but no, they ended up taking an unfavorable exchange in the tri-lane, which is definitely not what they wanted to be happening. So another orb flying forward. I'm actually surprised Iraj didn't blink right past the creeps there, but maybe thinking that he would have gotten caught by that creep aggro, and you know, you always underestimate how much damage that creep aggro is actually going to do. So you got to be smart about where you put yourself when you're in a scenario like this. Mid lane, Lina just going ham here. Actually, Eleanor dodges the the Dragon Slave. I think if that Dragon Slave hit with a couple more auto attacks, Lina might have found herself a kill there. So that was a really good dodge, and then Eleanor jumps back in and gets a deny on a siege creep. So playing this really well so far, and is actually tied with Bunny Kirby on last hits. 15, well, 14 now, but 15 apiece on either hero, but Invoker has significantly more denies. He's got 11 to Lina's 1, so in terms of XP, you can see that he's already pretty far ahead of Lina and will be hitting his level 6 before she does. Now, with Invoker, that doesn't matter all that much. When Lina gets level 6, you gotta watch out no matter what, but...
Denied.
Lina moving forward past the tower, feeling confident if Eleanor hesitates for even a moment that LSA could land, and that would be a very nice and easy kill. Gonna throw out the Dragon Slave, but it actually misses, so Eleanor feels a little bit more confident to move forward, and they could have actually maybe thrown out a Cold Snap there, start hitting down on Bunny Kirby, but either way, we've got a gank coming down bottom? No, okay. it looked like they wanted to move into the jungle and start fighting these supports and keep them from abusing the jungle, but decided not to do that. Anyways, mid lane, actually, the brawl continues as Lina is now out of mana and has no bottle charges left to speak for it. Cold Snap goes out on Bunny Kitty. He buys a TP knowing that this might be the end of him, but that one auto attack was just not enough, and okay. I get denying yourself to neutrals, but he had 200 gold in the bank, could have bought himself a magic wand, and instead ends up losing 150 gold, so not the best neutral deny. I mean, Invoker doesn't get the kill, sure, but could have been a little bit smarter about that. You're going to buy the wand anyway, so might as well do it right before you suicide, and she had time to think about that decision too. Soulfu doing a pretty good job getting some harass out here on Iraj, but they both have bottles, and so Iraj is actually going to heal that right back up to full, and Soulfu is going to be out of bottle charges. So Queen of Pain goes to get herself a bounty rune, is able to do that because the Invoker not notorious for needing runes that heavily, so Queen of Pain's going to be able to move around and kind of get whatever pickings there are on the map. But Tusk has been sitting up here for a while, just waiting to get a good snowball in, but how do you get that on the Queen of Pain, especially when she's staying this far back? I mean, maybe you can get a Dream Coil on the Puck or something, but like, if she just blinks out and takes the stun, she's going to be just fine. So this is looking interesting, but no, there we go. Throws the orb, but not going to jaunt forward. I was kind of expecting maybe a jaunt forward into that Dream Coil, but there's the Dream Coil now with the silence, and the snowball comes in, but she's got to blink away if she wants. Blinks up into the jungle and will survive. Turns back around, throws out a Sonic Wave, and gets the kill on Puck. Can she get another one onto Dreams? It doesn't look like it. That Orb of Venom is going to be enough to keep her from walking away, and the punches from the Tusk are enough to bring it down. So a 1-for-1 trade on the top lane, but I think that's pretty good for the Quap considering how long this Tusk had to stay up here to trade evenly. And actually, they might get a kill now that the Undying is here. And yeah, this is definitely going to do it. Boom, Dreams goes down, and meanwhile, mid lane, Lina is going to get caught out. Looks like a Tornado EMP with a Cold Snap mix is going to catch out the Lina, and ASDF secure themselves another kill on the board. So, relatively even game looking right now in terms of farm and stuff, but I think ASDF is off to a slightly better start with their better laning phase on both the tri-lane and the mid lane, and of course those 2 extra kills that they have. Aggressive jump forward there by the Faceless Void. They want to get in onto this Wyvern, but she starts healing herself up, and Gyro just decides he's going to do all the work and goes in, does not manage to kill the Faceless Void because of the Shallow Grave, but gets himself a Dazzle and might get himself a Tusk as well. It doesn't look like he wants to go in on this. He's going. No fucks given. And pops off the Rocket Barrage, but the Snowball is there, and he's going to get stunned underneath the tower. Pops off the Magic Wand to try to keep him alive, but the tower is going to do work. Underestimating that Snowball just a little bit, and the Tusk turns it back around. Meanwhile, huge brawl goes on in the mid lane. We see an Undying and a Queen of Pain drop in exchange for the Lina. Puck is there as well. Jumps away into the trees, but they spot him. Looks like the zombie is heading over there, but yeah, okay. Dazzle in the Puck, not able to get the Invoker. Invoker not able to get the Puck, and everybody walks away. So, total fight recap there. We had the Undying go down in...
bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, the Undying, the Lina, and the Queen of Pain all going down on mid. What a mess of a fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Just thinking, this is going to be the last time I ever watch Dota on this monitor. It's crazy to think about. I got in on some Black Friday sales. Oh, Bunny Kirby in the mid lane gets picked up by that Cold Snap, and despite the TPs, it was not enough to keep the Lina alive. And now they're going to go in on the Invoker. Maybe they find this kill. The Ice Shards are good, and the Puck is there with the Dream Coil, and that's going to be enough. They bring down Invoker, and the Wyvern's there trying to turn it back around, but the damage is just not enough to do anything significant to this Tusk, and he walks away from it relatively unscathed. Good rotations there, and had that TP been 0.5 seconds faster, I think the Tusk could have at least saved the Lina so she could cast another spell or two. It was so close. She died right as that TP landed, and Tusk went right into the snowball. If he had been spam clicking, might have been able to save the Lina, but does not. But yeah, I went out Black Friday sale, got myself a fancy new 144 hertz monitor, so I'm really excited to start playing Dota at higher frame rates. It'll be really cool. But I just picked it up from the mail today. It's sitting right beside me, ready to be unpackaged, and I had to get on this cast, so I jumped right into it a little bit quickly. But yeah, definitely super excited. I'll be playing some games all night tonight. Alright, we've got a Chronosphere drop down on the bottom lane, but it does next to nothing. But this rotation is going to do a lot more than nothing as they jump in on the Gyrocopter, and the Snowball will be the damage they need. Dazzle does end up getting finished off as Rilke moves forward and chips him out with those decay stacks. But I think they're okay with that trade if they can get the Gyrocopter over and over. As long as they're trading supports, they're happy with it, I think. Iraj gets caught by the stun, but the auto attacks just barely aren't enough, and the Winter Wyvern throws out that Winter's Curse. Now, the Winter's Curse does next to nothing on Bunny Kirby, and he's going to be able to continue to fight. And with that Dream Coil, they catch two out here. Solfu, his puck has been astonishing, and now he's going to be able to get that Blink Dagger up. Yeah, Blink Dagger on the puck, that is when things start to get very, very scary here, as Puck just an incredibly awesome nuker, great teamfight initiator, and you see that here as she blinks forward onto the Queen of Pain, gets a kill, trying to fight this out, but does not jaunt to her orb in time, and so that's going to be a couple kills for the Gyrocopter. Definitely not something they wanted to give back to him, as he was in a very strong position and died, and then he came back and they let him have a couple return kills that I'm sure they didn't want him to have.
Bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Streetlight, his farm is not amazing this game. The solo safe laners, Puck and Quap, both have equal last hits, and it is way higher than what the Faceless Void got, and especially considering he had a full tri-lane helping him out. His disparity with the Gyrocopter is pretty huge. We're looking at 23 over 66, so Streetlight just not in this game at all right now. No Mask of Madness to speak of, just a set of power treads, and he's just really not farming the way he wants to. Lina gets a kill on the Winter Wyvern on the mid lane there, and we'll back away. 144 hertz, yeah, that's kind of the new thing. I've been meaning to get one of these monitors for a while, even before that whole like Reddit thread about how they were using 144 at Frankfurt and stuff. It's just I've always had a graphics card that's way better than my monitor, and so like I'm rendering 150 frames a second on Dota, but I'm only actually getting 60 because it's a 60 hertz monitor that I'm using at the moment. So definitely looking forward to that upgrade. And the monitor I got, it's like an inch bigger. It's got a faster refresh time because the monitor I have right now is a 5-second refresh time, but I'm upgrading it to a 1 millisecond, or not a 1 second, 5 millisecond, upgrading it to a 1 millisecond. So definitely a lot of cool features. I'm really excited to see how it looks. But anyways, we had a bit of an engagement there. Faceless Void jumps in. I didn't stop talking about my monitor because he did nothing. He chronoed and then realized he couldn't do anything and walked away. Dazzle does end up getting caught out on the back lines of that as they chased her down, but Soulfu jumps in, finds himself a pick on the Winter Wyvern, and might actually end up in trouble here. Drops out the Rift Coil, but it's not going to matter as Rift Coil, Dream Coil. But the chase is good for ASDF, and they pursue it and get themselves a few extra kills.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Tier 2 facing a lot of damage right now. That Alacrity up on the Invoker is making him hit really hard. Snowball going in? What is this? I don't think this is the right call, my friends. They're going to jump right in. There's the call down. And Dazzle gets himself out because he's Shallow Grave TPs, but the Tusk is going to die for sure. And yeah, there's a TP in from the Faceless Void, but he immediately just jumps out to the jungle and says, screw it, I'm not sticking around. and this tier 2 is going to drop.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Wyvern trying to farm up just a little bit of XP in the mid lane here. Now up to 4 points on that Splinter Blast, so that is a very good nuke for these later game fights here. And ASDF looks like they're starting to pull ahead. I mean, the biggest problem here is this Faceless Void. If Void had the same farm Gyro had, things could be looking a lot differently. But if you check out the net worth and the gold charts, we're looking at over 5k for both of them right now, despite the kill totals only being 15 to 12. Hawk jumps up onto the high ground here, and they're looking for blood. They throw out the Winter's Curse on the Dazzle, and he's going to be the first casualty. Was that really worth it? I'm not 100% sure, but wow, overkill on the Gyrocopter. They bring him down. There's a Chronosphere, and actually this one might matter. They're trying to work away on Eleanor, but he gets healed up a few times. Will eventually fall, though, and now trying to finish off this Tombstone. Lina working away with a Fiery Soul, but Faceless Void did die on the end of that fight. Rilke walking away from this for now. He should be okay with the Soul Rip and the Decay stacks, but there's a Snowball out, and the damage is just barely enough. So No Name Team, despite having a pretty big farm disparity there going into that fight, they end up taking 5 for 1, which is exactly what they need. They need to start winning some of these fights, defending their towers, and taking some objectives of their own. Once again, I mean, they haven't taken any towers right now. The tier 1 stand in all 3 lanes for the Radiant, and No Name Team just have not been able to crack that barrier because they've been on the back foot this whole game.
Dire's middle tower has been denied.
Alright, mid tower denial here from Bunny Kirby on the mid lane. He's going to keep that extra gold from going to the enemy team. But all 3 tier 1s and a tier 2 have dropped on No Name Team's side. So they're definitely lacking in the map control department and need to find a way to get themselves some towers and maybe some aggressive pickoffs in the enemy jungle. Now is the time for smokes, and we do see that one is ready in the Tusk's inventory, but doesn't look like they're grouping up quite yet to use it. Invoker pops himself out of Invis, and looks like he was ready to go, but gets used up, and Lina not going to pop the full combo as she does not have mana for the Laguna Blade. Alright, Invoker ends up getting caught up by a little bit of burst damage, but the Wyvern is going to be the primary target here as the Laguna Blade goes out on him. But Gyro is just going to work. They finish off the puck, or Wyvern does, rather, and Lina actually TPs out with a Shallow Grave. Very lacking in stuns on the side of ASDF. They've got the Gyro Rocket, which he's not skilling, and then they've got the Invoker spells, and that's pretty much it. No stuns to speak of, and that's allowed No Name Team to TP out of a lot more fights than they should have.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Bottom lane, Faceless Void just trying to supplement his farm in whatever way he can. Still working towards that Morbid Mask. I mean, it's the most cost-efficient item he can get, but still, they're just not able to do anything right now. Dazzle gets picked off again. This Dazzle has been so sad. He's 1-7 this game, has nothing but brown boots. They're going in to fight this, though. They drop the Chronosphere, but once again, the Wyvern, as long as she's outside of that, has no problem with that Chronosphere going down. She can save anybody, and we see 3 heroes go down on the side of No Name Team already. Oh man, really good Dream Coil there. It catches 3, but will they be able to make anything come of that? They got 1 kill on the Invoker, but it looks like the Gyro might actually make his way out of here. And yeah, with the heals from his teammates, he's going to survive. Dazzle TP's in, but realizes he doesn't have much that he can do here. Puck actually, whoa, finds himself an extra kill as the Undying. Looks like he just had the Decay stacks wearing off and was wandering out. It was a little bit too squishy, and Puck sees the opportunity and seizes the day. Lina, you just gotta keep auto-attacking, girl. What are you doing? Well, this Gyro is actually ridiculously tanky. Oh, does catch him. So Bunny Kirby goes a little bit deep looking for that kill, and actually Puck comes in on the back line to help out and snipes that courier. Are they going to continue fighting, though? It doesn't look like they should. They're going to try to walk away from that, but a Winter's Curse goes out on the lone Lena as she's walking away, and she will be a casualty of that fight. So 1-to-1 on either side. I think it's okay if you get the gyrocopter, but that definitely could have been done a lot cleaner. Just the gyro had so much armor there. I think it was with the aura from the Ring of Akia, he was sitting at 21 armor, something pretty close to that. It was yeah, 21 armor is just absurd. And Alina was trying to do the right clicks, but she kind of stopped. She attacked the courier a couple times, and then she stopped chasing him when he walked out into the trees. I don't know. It was a weird fight. But anyways, Tusk gets caught out in the mid lane, and he's going to drop to that Orchid. So Queen of Pain finds herself a really good pick off there. Sitting about 700 gold away from her Aghanim Scepter, which she's definitely going to be putting to good use. We've seen her spamming out her ultimate quite a bit this game, so definitely be good to have around. Dazzle somewhere somehow got Arcane Boots. I don't know if he sold his soul to the devil, or if he got a kill streak, or found a leprechaun or a genie or whatever, but does manage to round himself up 900 gold and gets himself a set of Arcane Boots. Now Lena finds herself a solo pick on the bottom lane as that Laguna Blade is back up. If that was up for the gyro kill, that would have been a much cleaner one, but instead saves, well, doesn't save it, but waits till it's off cooldown, goes in onto the Undying and gets himself a kill there. Puck looking for a jump on the Quap, but she blinks out instantly, accepts the stun, and Streetlight, oh, is he going to drop the Chronosphere? Definitely could. He's not going to do it quite yet, though. He's silenced up by the Orchid on the Invoker. Now they're going to go for a Winter's Curse. He actually gets a Grave off, which could keep the Faceless Void alive for a second. He jumps back in, but does end up blown up by something. The Winter Wyvern's a Splinter Blast, but still a really good team fight for ASDF, and they're going to find themselves a total of 4 kills. So definitely to my surprise, I didn't think that was going to work out the way it did. The Dream Coil started out really sloppy. It got one hero who managed to blink out of it, and then the Tusk took a really deep snowball into the middle of enemy territory, but they managed to pull it through, and they kept the Faceless Void alive as long as they could. He ended up dying in the end, but he did contribute a significant portion to that, and Bunny Kirby is going to be quite rich because of that. He's got 11 of his team's 27 kills, which is a pretty big gap, if I do say so myself. If you look at the net worth charts, Lena and Puck do lead the charge on that in that regard. It looks like the Gyro just hasn't been farming as efficiently as he was before, seeing as he now has 6 deaths to his name, and Queen of Pain, very much the same story. 6 deaths to her, and just has not been doing what she needs in these fights to keep herself, not only keep herself alive, but keep her earning gold. Alright, words dropped over here. Puck was pinging that out like crazy, but I don't know how they spotted that. Yeah, they didn't have vision over there. What did Puck see? I'm not sure.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, ASDF starting to work away on this bottom tier 2 tower, and they're going to come back in with the next creep wave. They're kind of waiting for it, kind of not. They're back, but they're not. Alright, yeah, so they got a creep wave. They're starting to move forward now, and it looks like they are going to fight. This is going to be a full 5-man team fight. No Name team is ready for it. They've got the Chronosphere, they've got the Dream Coil, and they want it to happen. There we go. Chronosphere catches 2, but Soulfu actually blinks into it himself, and he's going to get blown up right away. Streetlight drops very, very low, but the Shallow Grave is good for now. He's going to be able to fight for another few seconds, but he is going to get bursted as soon as that Shallow Grave wears off. And there's a kill on the Tusk, and he drops a Gem of True Sight as well. That was a very poor fight for No Name team. They tried to make it work, but I think the big error was that Faceless Void went in without the Puck, and then Puck blinked right on top of that
Radiant's
that
top tower
Chronosphere
is under
and ended
attack.
up stunned herself, which is definitely not what you want. She got blown up almost immediately thereafter, and that meant that there was no Dream Coil, there was no
Radiant's top
silences
tower is
to
under
keep
attack.
ASDF from doing what they do.
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Alright, Tier 2
Dire's
gonna
bottom
drop,
tower
and
is being denied.
now that all Tier 2s have gone on the Dire side, ASDF has got to think about what they want to do and where they want to go next. Roshan is probably going to be the best bet, but they've still got a lot of jungle to farm. They could very easily just kind of start to occupy the Dire jungle over here and just take away all of the farm that No Name Team could get for the next little while, then go to Rosh at around 30 minutes and then push. So we'll see what their choice is, but at the moment I don't think they're under any pressure to do anything drastic. Aghanim Scepter purchased on Lina now, and she's going to walk away right before that gyrocopter gets too close to her. Puck is up on top lane, looking at Araj, and he's going to force him to make that coil break. Jumps forward, gets the silence off, but Araj pops out the magic wand and starts deciding to fight. And there's going to be the Sonic Wave, but it actually does get juked by the phase shift. And there we go. Is Araj going to be able to make it out of this? He's got a second on his blink. He jumps away, and the snowball, it doesn't quite connect. They need to find him and just hit him once with anything, but he blinks into the trees. They gotta know where he is. They have to have spotted that. No way. Iraj actually gets out. Wow, what a player. Escapes through the trees, just hides in a nook, and the ice shards just barely missed. Meanwhile, down on the bottom lane, Lina does get picked off by this combo here. It looks like the Invoker and the Gyrocopter decided to say, screw it, jumped in, got the Lina, and have now put some dents in this bottom tier 3 tower. And no fear, they're going to go right back in. There is a Chronosphere, but it's not insanely great. Yellow Swag is keeping himself alive pretty damn well, and with that Soul Rip and the Mechanism, he's going to be right back up to full health. Chronosphere down, Streetlight going to try to run away from this, but the Rocket Barrage is too much. Dreams, he doesn't have mana to make his way out of this as well. He gets Shallow Graved up, but it's not going to matter. If they chase him and give him one more auto attack, he is done skis. There's the Soul Rip to finish it out. Tier 3 tower going to drop, and Rack's going to follow very shortly thereafter. Alright. Barracks go down on bottom, and mid is facing some pressure. Iraj is pushing in the creep wave here and just trying to help them make their way in there. I think they're probably just going to go. They know that the Chronosphere is down, and Faceless Void is not up for another 10 seconds anyway, so might as well hit some buildings. They can get this tier 3 for sure, I think. Whether or not they back out after that is up to them on how ballsy they're feeling, but actually it looks like they're going to back out ahead of time. I think they're fearing for that Puck blinking forward and getting a Dream Coil and holding him in place for the Faceless Void to catch him out, but Soulfu, there we go, he drops the Dream Coil, and there's the TP in from the Tusk. Will they be able to turn this into a fight? Oh yeah, the Faceless Void, he doesn't have the Chronosphere anyways, he's too far back, and, it's still on cooldown rather. But yeah, YOLO Swag cares not for the enemy team, and GG well played is going to be the call. So that's it. No Name Team loses game number 3, and ASDF will take a 2-1 advantage in this series. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been blasting through this series. This is the 3rd game in a best of 5. It is 2-1 right now, so there's a very good possibility that we could be going to a game number 5. Stick around. I'm Cptn.Canuck. We'll be back in just a few moments. Thank you guys so much for watching.